First off, I want to thank the grace of heaven and the virtues of the masters, the mercy of the grand predecessor, transmitting masters, lecturers, and everyone here today for this opportunity to continue with this topic, the way of happiness. This is actually Holy Teacher's guidance and advice, I guess you could say, yeah, to each of us to how to find happiness. Okay, so because I guess from the Buddhist point or from the enlightened point of view, it's mundane, common people tend to find happiness in the wrong places. Okay, they're looking for happiness in the wrong places, right? So let's see. Last week we started talking. We got to number 6, but let's just quickly review this thing before we continue. So first of all, yeah. So everyone obviously wants to live a happy life, right? Be contented in life. But we have to realize that really the happiness is from within. Okay, so right, there's a saying, you can't buy happiness, or maybe you can't buy love, but either way, you can't buy it. Okay, it's not like the material things that you can buy and possess that make you happy, right? Ultimately, happy is an emotion, right? It comes from within. But ultimately, the higher level, this inner joy, whatever, that's not really an emotion. That's just, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like this contentedness, this something that comes from within and is not subject to any external conditions, right? Now, Holy Teachers also in this particular in talking about this, he's focused primarily on the family because that's kind of like the basic unit of society, right? The family, the society is made up of all these families, right? You can say society is made up of individuals, but individuals are also part of families. So the family is very important, and so he talks a lot about within the family, the relationships among the family members, about how to be happy, how to try to create this happiness there. So that's important. Now, so the first point he says is happiness is a joyful and grateful heart. Okay, so we have to be accepting of things. Okay, yeah. So we have to be joyful, grateful, contented, right? Grateful is, be thankful for all the things that we have. Okay, even it's hard to, the second step is to then say, the first step we say, certainly be grateful and thankful for all the good things that we have, right? The good stuff, the what makes our life better. Certainly our parents, we thank our parents, and then thank all those who help us or things like that. But we should also ultimately, be grateful for everything, not just the good things, even the things that happen to us that maybe, we cause us some pain and suffering. But ultimately, these things will help us. Okay, but it's all in our mindset, how we deal with it, how we face it. Okay. And so happiness comes from within, right? We don't have to look for it outside. Again, can't get it from the material stuff. All right. And, there's a lot of people who seek the external or trying to change let's say they're not happy with their life. They want to change things. So they go to fortune tellers, they go to feng shui masters, etc. And they try to seek ways to change it from externally. And Holy Teacher says that's not the way. You can't really just change things from that external, from the external side. Okay, just like the Buddha. Okay, so we say happiness comes from within; it's not from the outside. Just like the Buddha, right? Holy Teacher says, well, where's the Buddha? Yeah, we have Buddha statues. Okay, we revere them, or we say, wow, this is very precious. This statue is very expensive. I even got it blessed. But the Buddha is not in the statue. Okay, the Buddha is in our heart and mind. So if we don't have the Buddha within us, then this external Buddha statue is it's nothing. It's just a statue, right? So happiness, you could say happiness the same way. I mean, if we don't have that happiness within, then the things that we try to acquire, get from the outside to make us happy, well, then it's also very conditional. I mean, right? So depends on the conditions, then we're not going to be happy, right? So, so anyways, yeah, we should let go of all these forms. Also, bad temper and our bad habits, these things affect us. And these are because, yeah, you can say it's partly creating karma. And then so later on, we suffer the consequences. And so bad temper habits, definitely we have to get rid of, because this is what Holy Teacher says, it's the disease of the heart, okay, the disease of the heart and mind. And we have to get rid of these in order to get rid of those, eliminate those disasters, okay, that come with them. So, all right. And then second point was, get rid of evil, harmful speech and stay away from comparisons. Yeah, obviously we don't want to say bad things or, to people that can potentially, we create a bad affinity, right? Bad affinity with people. And that can, again, bad karma. Now the comparison aspect, yeah, as humans, we tend to compare, right? We look at things and say, hey, they have something better, the neighbor has a better car or better house or whatever. I want that. I want to be, in fact, I want to be even better than them, so that's this comparison. And so when we're constantly doing that, then we're not going to be content. We're not going to be happy until we, achieve, we can get a better car or a better house or whatever. Okay. So then we're never happy, right? So again, you have to be content and not compare. So what, that's their life. That's what they have, right? They blessed them, right? They earned it from previous lives. Okay. So that's how they got it. So this is my life and I should be just content with it. Right. It's not to say that we can't change our fate. Okay. But again, if we're unable to change it, then we should accept it. We have to accept it. Okay. We should also say, try to say good things to praise. Yeah, you can say praise our family members or other people. But of course, don't flatter and, don't go overboard, right? And don't do it insincerely, right? It should be sincere. And when we deal with situations or people, don't use our emotions, right? Then like anger or other types of emotions in there, then that really messes things up, because then we can't. It's hard to deal with things satisfactorily. Get a satisfactory result when we do that. Okay. Third point: fulfill our duties and our position or role. Okay, so this. Obviously within the family or everywhere, anywhere, in all our roles, right? We all wear different hats depending on where they're at home or at work or at school, right? So we have duties, our responsibilities everywhere, and we should fulfill those properly. Now, certainly when he's talking about within the home, yeah, the husband and wife and then children, they all have their own duties and they should fulfill them. And, shouldn't, the family, again, we want to create happiness with the family, shouldn't be tempted by these things outside, influences or other things outside, from the outside. Okay. So people might want to, are trying to perhaps destroy this family, destroy the happiness in the family. Okay. And through their temptation. So we have to control ourselves, not fall for that. Okay. And we also within the family and of course with everyone else, we also have to always have respect for each other, right? Show respect, not say, oh, I know better than you, so I'm when I'm arguing, I'm right. It's not always about that. Okay, so anyways, always need to have respect, and no matter how we deal with things. All right. Okay, number 4 is happiness is to tolerate people who disagree with us. Yeah, we live in a world where every individual is different, right? Everyone, besides what we call the true nature, the Buddha nature, our essence is the same. But in this life, right, everyone is different. Everyone has different karma and affinity. All right. So, and you can say, and personalities are different. So people have different ideas, they have different opinions, and we have to accept that, right? We can't go and there's no absolute right and wrong. Okay. that we have to realize in this world that we're living in, there is no absolute right and wrong. Okay. Everything is relative. And so we can't force other people to agree with us or follow us. But we should always try to learn, be respectful again, to learn from their other opinions and ideas, even though we may not agree with them. Okay. And then we can, when we try to explain ourselves, our opinions and ideas, yeah, again, don't bring emotions into it. We have to be as objective as possible. Okay. Then that's, so you can say we have to appeal to the rational mind, right? The reason. Okay. So, and yeah, so everything, also our worries and vexations, a lot of these things it's very subjective, right? So Holy Teacher says, yeah, show me your worry, your vexation. And, we can't really bring it out. It's like it's within the mind, the heart and mind. Okay. So that's something that, again, we can, because it's created in our heart, mind, in our mind, we can also end it. Okay. Happiness is not to change the other person. Yeah. So we always tend to, again, those who are different, we say, hey, you have to be, not necessarily to be like me, but to listen to me, to understand me, to follow my instructions or directions. Okay. Yeah. And, especially when it comes to like habits, things like that. So obviously in the family, because people are living together, or spend the most time together, then that's where you find, idiosyncrasies, differences that each person has, and that, certain habits or whatever might be, we may not be used to it, and it'd be kind of difficult to kind of accept or tolerate, and so then you get into arguments and fights, etc. So but we have to realize that it's hard to change people, just like it's hard to change ourselves, right? We have habits, it's very hard to change. So that's why we can't force anyone to change, right? And so don't because of anger over something that later on we're going to regret. So avoid that at all costs. Things will become better. We have to be patient and we have to be tolerant. And the more we are patient and the more we are tolerant, it kind of builds on itself, I guess. And gradually we'll be able to tolerate more and be more patient. Okay, so yeah, but we have to start somewhere, right? And then stay silent as opposed to get into big arguments. That's the best way to avoid things getting worse. All right. And then so 6, so this is the second key to happiness, is to accept one's fate and destiny. Okay, so here we're talking about, well, for one thing is, the things that happen. Okay, so let's say, yeah, this family, they lost a child. Okay, so that's obviously that's already happened. Okay, they can't change that. Right, can't no matter what you do, you can't bring them back. Okay, so that's something that we have to accept, but in terms of like our future, okay, future destiny, obviously that's where I said we can change it if we cultivate, right? If we perform merits, all that, cultivate our virtues, then we can change our future. Okay, the destiny, the fate is what we say karmic fate, because that was set by our past karma from past lives. But again, that is changeable. Okay. But again, if sometimes it may not be changeable, it depends. I don't know. It's very hard. It's really, there's no good answer. Okay. I can't really give you a solid answer to that, whether some people, they're able to change it, others may not. And maybe because either they're not doing enough to change it, or that karma is just too severe, okay, to change that much, okay, or to completely eliminate. We have to accept, the reality of things, how they are. Okay, and then people like to change their appearance, maybe, using external means. That's all. Holy teacher says, the inner beauty is the most important. What's our heart, the beauty of our heart, mind, okay? That is the most important thing, right? Not the material, the forms, right? And then, so we should follow our affinity and destiny. Whatever, affinity we have with people, sometimes we have, okay, this is a good affinity, or sometimes it's a bad affinity. But anyways, that affinity is there, okay? So, and it is what it is. We can't force it either one way or the other. Okay. So, just let it be. Now in the future, so that's why in the Tao, when we say we're cultivating, and if we don't necessarily have affinity, like if we're trying to propagate the Tao, we don't have affinity with people, we establish good affinity, right? So some people, they might like cook vegetarian food, and give it to these people that they want to establish this affinity with, and things like that. So those are ways you can create good affinity for the future. I mean, this would be as a bodhisattva, okay, someone who wants to save sentient beings. Okay, so it may not be, maybe they won't receive the Tao in this life, but in a future life potentially. Okay. All right. All right. So now we're up to number 7. Number 7. Okay. So it says, do not create bad affinity and karma with others. All right. So that's kind of what we're talking about. So basically, Holy Teacher often says that every cultivator is good or satisfactory and is easygoing, and they have good affinity, and they do not cause suffering to sentient beings. Now, when talking to those who are frustrated or dejected, we should use gentle and loving words to encourage them. Okay. So when in the presence of divorcees, for example, we should not talk about how happy we are as a family, or how lovely and capable the children are, et cetera. Yeah, because it's, they're not in that situation, or they've had that situation before, now they lost it. Okay. And so when we talk about it, it's kind of like, maybe we're not showing off, but it's not being very tactful or discreet or sensitive. Okay. So when we talk about things that they don't have, okay, or that they lost. All right. So sometimes, remember, it's like, we're talking to someone, and, we mentioned something about, let's say, their mother or the father, but we didn't realize that they had passed away. And, so they, then we say, I'm sorry, but I didn't know. Okay. So we have to be a little bit more discreet or careful. Now, so, the family, it's very happy. We do not want to create unhappiness for others, right? We want to establish a good affinity with others. Okay. So that way, people will not say or think, hey, what's the big deal? What he's talking about, what's so great about it? Right. So, for example, another example, Holy Teacher says, like if they're disabled people, right? We shouldn't be talking about how healthy and strong we are. Okay. So, or how fast I can run or jump, whatever. I mean, it's basically maybe a reminder to the other person that, this is something that they cannot do. Okay. So there is a reminder of their deficiency, So that's something that we have to be mindful of, that we shouldn't, try to avoid that as much as possible. Okay. Now, sometimes, we might say something without, obviously, we don't mean to hurt their feelings or anything. But sometimes that'll happen if we're not fully aware of their situation. Okay. So in that situation, then we have to be careful. Be more general in what we're talking about. So we should use, gentle words to encourage them. right? Do not highlight or draw attention to the differences between you or what they are lacking, right? So we should be more compassionate and understanding and learn how to relate to them, okay? Yeah, you have to be more understanding of their situation, okay? Now, we have to praise the achievements of other people. Sentient beings tend to have a mentality of sour grapes. Okay, so what's sour grapes? Sour grapes is having like a negative attitude towards something because they do not or cannot have it. Okay, so let's say somebody says, "Oh, this person has many achievements and makes a lot of money, right? But they acquired their wealth by shady means." Okay, so that's kind of like the negative clause to that. So it says, people like to add, "Oh, but right, to qualify their statement with something negative, right? So one person says, "Oh, that young lady is a strong-willed and independent woman." Then the other person says, "Yes, she is, but she changes boyfriends every day," or something. Okay, so basically, yeah, so they're adding something there, and it's like, kind of like throwing cold water on the whatever good fortune that they have. Okay, so that's sour grapes, all right? Now, so we shouldn't have that kind of attitude, right? We should always actually, be happy for them, rejoice in their good fortune, right? In their whatever their blessing. But yeah, so we should do our best to praise or compliment others. And then, however, we should not be insincere in our praise if it's not necessary, right? The praise should be appropriate and sincere. When someone is frustrated or dejected, give them some gentle and loving words of encouragement, right? They will thank us, right? If they are very frustrated or depressed and are, thinking of suicide, yeah, then we have to be, well, obviously we have to be careful, but we have to be, we have to act quickly, right? To turn things around to save them potentially from killing themselves, right? So that's a very serious thing. And, if we manage to if we save their lives, then that's a great, immeasurable merit, okay, in saving someone's life like that, okay, if they were considering suicide and we kind of talked them out of it. So when people think about committing suicide, it's because of depression. That's very scary. Therefore, we must strengthen our view of life, have a clear understanding of the universe by first understanding that life is impermanent and unpredictable, right? That coming and going is also impermanent. Basically, you say birth and death are not the ultimate beginning and end of life, right? Everything happens in continuous cycles: birth, death, rebirth, again, okay, and it continues. But people, yeah, who end up in where they feel like there's nothing, they have nothing to lose, I guess. I mean, yeah, because things are so bad. They think things are so bad that they have to end their life. I mean, that is sad. That's very sad. So we should, when we see that or get hints of that, then we need to, act right away. To try to, you say intervene, try to prevent them from doing that, because every life is precious, right? Okay, so, right, yeah. So that's why, we have to learn to Tao. We have to understand this idea of, well, there is, life doesn't end at death. Okay, so people who think, well, there's nothing to live for, they can just kill themselves and end it all. Unfortunately, that's not the case, because the soul is still continues into, and then it goes on to the next life. Now, and unfortunately, because of such a strong, you can say strong emotion at the time of death, that they carry that on to the next life, and the next several lifetimes actually. So that's why suicide is a very bad thing. Okay, so definitely you know, have to avoid that and try to help anyone who's thinking of that to not do it. Okay. All right. So number 8, happiness is not having a strong sense of possessiveness. Okay. Yeah, we cannot think that everything is mine, right? We have our talents, right? Others have their talents, right? Why do the mother and the daughter-in-law not get along well? Well, because maybe the mother believes that the daughter-in-law took her son away. Okay, so obviously you can kind of reverse things, say, oh, the father, but usually I guess maybe the mother is more, clings more to the child. Yeah, so, you know, this is something that everyone has this sense of possessiveness, okay? Obviously, the mother wishes to keep her son. The daughter-in-law also wants to keep her husband. Therefore, you know, shouldn't make it difficult for the third person, in this case, you know, the son and husband, right? Everyone should come to understand each other, try to consider things from the other person's position and point of view. Right. So yeah, I mean, then, you know, you can say maybe get a little bit more subtle when obviously this is not, you know, not every not every mother is going to feel like that. Okay. So maybe they'll be happy for the son to go off and have their own life. But, you know, so there's kind of in general. Okay. And all right. So, you know, the point is, you know, we have to be considerate and take into account how the other person feels about it. So try not to flaunt or just make things, you know, again, you know, we were just talking about sour grapes earlier, you know, so not try to make, you know, get into that kind of situation where we say things or do things in front of the other person that make them feel, well, then maybe they feel jealous too, you know, but, you know, have that sour grapes feeling, right? And then also, you know, in the family, you know, like the parents, you know, shouldn't be too overbearing, okay, you know, with their kids or with each other. Sometimes, you know, that's kind of like forcing the other person to do what they want, right? We can't always do that. I mean, certainly when parents and children, yeah, you can, I mean, the children, they should listen to the parents, of course. And so the parents, you could say, have a right, I guess, to tell the children, hey, you know, you can't do this, or you can do that, right? Or you need to help with the chores, right? All these things. But you know, the thing is, and then there's also like, you know, worrying about. So Holy Teacher says, you know, also, right, we have to eliminate the 3 hearts and minds, hearts and minds, okay, which is attachment to the past, present, and future, right? So it's, you know, it's not too helpful to have the doubts or suspicions about people or about their past, anyways, you know, because everybody has a past, but it's already gone, right? So, you know, let bygones be bygones, right? Only the present moment is ours, so we just need to be good and proper in the moment. Okay, so, you know, obviously people can change and do that. So let me just briefly first jump into this 3 hearts and minds thing. Okay, so, you know, it's basically, it's, yeah, you can say it's a mindset. Okay, and we're talking about the past, you know, a lot of people, yeah, well, we like reminisce, right? We remember things from the past. But realize that we can't change the past, right? The past is already done. It's in the history books. Okay, it's in the history books. You can't change it. Now we can. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about the past, but you know, we can learn from the past, and we should learn from the past. In fact, you know, past mistakes, past successes, everything, we can learn a lot from the past, so that we don't. Let's say if it's failures, we don't repeat those in the future. Okay, or in the present. Okay, so that's definitely, so in school, that's why we learn history, right? They have a history class. There are important things that happened in history that we need to learn about. So, you know, just like, you know, whether it's like the Holocaust, for example, genocide, right? These things that happen, and why did they happen, right? And so if we have to learn, why, so that we can prevent it from happening again. Okay, so that's important. But realize that, yeah, we can't change the past. We can only change the present and going into the future, right? Now, the present, you might say, well, the present, hey, present, we're always in the present, right? The thing is, we cannot stay in the present. Present is like, right now. Okay, so like right now, let's see, it's 8:30. Okay, so I want to stay here at this time right now, 8:30. Okay, but a minute, or actually, a minute later, it's 8:31, so it's already passed. All right, so a lot of times we're in the present. Okay, in that present moment, we feel, wow, we feel great. Okay, let's say, oh, we watched the sunset. It's beautiful, but very soon it passes. Okay, so we can't keep it. We can't hold on to that. We can't maintain it. It becomes a memory after that. Okay, so then it's already in the past. So that's something to remember. We cannot stay in that present moment. And then the future, right? We also can't predict the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. And even if we say, oh, I want to do this in the future, I want to be something, achieve something in the future. Again, that's in the future. It hasn't happened yet, and anything can happen, right? Things can change until then, right? So again, don't be too fixated on, oh, what our plans for the future, because that, again, that's could change. And because there are just too many things that are out of our control, right? That can cause things not to happen the way we want, right? So the point is, about the three minds is that, yeah, don't be stuck on any of these past, present, or future. We have to live or be in the moment. Okay, so this moment is not the same as the present. This moment is, there's no attachment, right? In this moment, you can say that things are always constant. Well, inside, within our heart and mind, constant, let's say constant joy. Okay, so no matter what is happening, so even though that sunset passed, that moment that's present, at that time passed, we are still joyful, okay, or happy. Okay, so that's really, but this gets into a lot of discussion about what does it mean to be in the moment. But in general, you can say it's not attached to anything, and you have this constant. So from moment to moment, it's constant. Okay, so that's what Holy Teacher was saying about this happiness, this having this constant joy. Okay, within. All right, so that doesn't change no matter when it is. All right. Okay, so getting back to this one here, it says, okay, so things in the past, right, says Holy Teachers, don't open up the scars of the past. Don't let the past destroy the current happiness. All right, so there, that's why, so that's something that we should be mindful of. Sometimes we want to dig into someone's past. Yeah, that's fine. We can learn about the past, but we have to be ready to accept what they tell us about what happened in the past. Okay, all right, and then don't be too doubtful about someone or suspicious, right? People get too paranoid. Perhaps they you meet some people that they're very paranoid about. Oh, people are out to get me. They're saying things, or like the government is is spying on me, things like that. But there's no that's going overboard. That's paranoia. But yeah, we can have our doubts or suspicions, but again, but it needs to be cleared up, right? So we have to gain clarity, get understanding of what it is. Maybe we misunderstood, or things aren't really the way that we think they are. Okay, so again, kind of communication, trying to hear things out from them, find out what's going on. Now, Holy Teacher says, well, because the people have doubts and suspicions. It's like a disease that can't get rid of. They destroy feelings and relationships. Okay, so the heart and mind should be normal, just accepting things as they are, not thinking too much. So, but, again, everyone has, if we're talking about people's past, okay, people, sure, they did things in the past, but people do change. They can change, and they do change. Okay, so it doesn't mean that the past, this is what they were, that that this is how they are now, and this is gonna be, their future is the same. It's not like that, right? People can make changes, okay? So we have to tolerate and be understanding, and you can say, oh, yeah, maybe we have to forgive someone in the past, okay? But so the most important thing is, we have to seize the present moment, okay, seize the moment. This is what's more important now, right? The past is past. What right now we are living in the moment, not in the past, okay? So, all right, and then, okay, so let's see. So I just wanted to bring this up because talking about, you can say it's trust, okay? Talking about trust. In the Confucius talks about the 5 cardinal relationships, right? The relationship between the ruler or leader and subjects, okay? The relationship between husband and wife, relationship between parents and children, relationship between siblings, or it's actually, between young and old, and relationship between friends. Okay, so 3 of these, right? Yeah, you can say 3 of these: husband, wife, parents and children, and siblings. These are all within the family. So you can see the family is very important. This is like the whole of society is defined by these 5 relationships, and 3 of these are in the family. So that's why the family is the most important unit within the society. Okay. But okay, so they have different relationships, right? So the leader, the ruler should be righteous, and then the subjects will also be loyal, right? Okay, we're not going to explain all these, but so husband, wife, you should be supportive of each other, and but there's some clear responsibilities among them. Today, of course, it's pretty much, it can be, the roles could be swapped, things like that, but it doesn't matter. Everyone has their responsibility. Parents and children, the parents should be loving towards children, and children should be filial towards the parents. Among siblings, or you can say it's between the young and the old. Okay, that this relationship between younger and older. There's you can orderliness, right? The older would love the younger, and the younger respects the older. Okay, and then among friends, there's trust and trustworthiness. Okay, so this is where it's kind of equal in both directions. But this trust, okay, so you can say that the friends, it goes among these relationships. Friends is really, you can say it's like the lowest level the relationship. Although sometimes you might say, well, we don't have that much of a relationship between us and the leader, like the president, for example. But that should be generalized to, you can say, the government. Okay, but the government is in pretty much all aspects, most of our aspects of our lives. So there's a lot of involvement there. So, but friends, okay, so friends. Now, so trust, this doesn't mean that, there's only trust, there should be trust among friends, or trustworthiness among friends only, right? And not in the other. The trust must exist in all these relationships, right? That's like the basic, you can say the basic trust, you can say it's a virtue, okay? And trustworthiness, right? This is the basic foundation of all relationships, really, right? So including all of these other ones, but not just friends. But it's friends is, that's the minimum level, okay? So anyways, that's what I want to bring out, because, we were just talking about suspicions and doubts and stuff like that. So we should have some trust in all these relationships. All right. Okay, so now number 9, happiness is having the sense that everything one has is beautiful or fine, or that everything is beautiful or fine. Okay. We can say, or, you can say that we can see the beauty in everything that we have. All right, we should have a constant joyful heart. Okay, the constant joyful heart means that the heart is unchanging, right? the happy and joyful state of mind should be maintained at all times, right? Whether the conditions and situations are good or not so good, or, you know, it could be very bad, we should be happy even if we are facing adversity and difficulties. When things are going poorly for us, or we have discomfort, pain, and illness, right? In other words, do not let the circumstances, the situation affect our state of mind, which should be joyful and happy. Okay, so yeah. Now, because we have this physical body, okay, the self, okay, what we think of as the self, right? This body and our ego, okay, it's a false self. It's false, okay. The false self exists because our consciousness accepts the external stimuli, right? The what we get from the environment, and lets us feel and perceive, okay. Therefore, when we talk about cultivation, we are talking about the realm of the heart and mind, which is beyond knowledge. Okay, so you know, we're a holy teacher. Yeah, he gets a little bit more, I don't know, theoretical or philosophical here. But you know, there's something called the four nirvana virtues. Actually, this is not exactly what he's talking about, but you know, these four in Chinese, 常乐我静 is that's the four nirvana virtues. But you know, he's talking about a little bit different way. Okay, but these four, you know, represent permanence, joy, true self, and purity. Okay, that's at the highest level, at the level of like the Buddha realms. Okay, but as far as humans go, right, you can say you use these two together, 常乐. Okay, so maintain a constant joyful state of mind, and 我净, you have to purify and still the self and ego. Okay, still the mind. All right. All right. So basically, yeah. Now, if we tell, right, a cultivator, right, someone who's yeah, maybe he's enlightened, and you tell him to move, right, he will not casually move, either mentally or physically, right? And an enlightened person will not casually, you can say, yeah, impulsively or emotionally or arbitrarily have delusional thoughts or desires. On the other hand, if we tell a you know, a normal person, maybe, you know, or maybe a delusional person, right, to suppress or quiet down their thoughts, their delusion and desires, right, they won't be able to do that, right? And you know, it's similar to, right, in physics, right? And I don't know, maybe, I'm sure probably all learned this in high school physics, the basic law of Newtonian physics that says, right, an object in motion tends to stay in motion, and an object at rest tends to stay at rest, right? So same principle applies to the mind and a mental state. If the mind is constantly in motion, you know, so thoughts, keep getting thoughts, and you're all thinking of stuff and whatever emotions, it is difficult to stop it. And if the mind is constantly at rest, so someone who's in a meditative state, for example, then it's also difficult to get it moving, start giving, you know, starting to think, have thoughts, okay, give rise to thoughts. Now, the false self recognizes these external, the external, I guess, symbols or whatever it's getting from the outside, okay, through our senses. Okay, in philosophy, right, there are four different doctrines. Okay, so I don't know, this basically, you know, holy teachers saying, okay, so there's one called materialism, which focuses on the analysis of the body or material forms. Another is called idealism, which is the opposite, kind of focuses on the mind consciousness. The doctrine considers the external reality as a result of consciousness. Okay, so another says that both the body and consciousness are one. Okay, and finally, there's another one that says neither the body nor consciousness exists. Okay, so this is similar to the in Buddhism. There's something called the four what is it? The four negations or something. Anyways, but it's not, you know. So but these four theories, you can say, are kind of like mutually exclusive. Okay, they can kind of reject the other doctrine. So that last one rejects all the other ones. Now, so yes, it's called the four propositions in Buddhism. Okay, so there's existence, non-existent, both, and neither. All right, but that's, you know, that's getting trying to overanalyze things, okay, when people do that, right? So now we have to use our wisdom to see through these theories and control our consciousness, right? So we think, yeah, our consciousness, this is, that's basically, that's it, you know, so I you know, what I think, that's it. That's, you know, so Descartes says, I think, therefore I am, okay, so that's it. But actually, you know, the wisdom is not in the consciousness. The wisdom is, you might say, it's coming from the subconscious mind, okay, because it's not something actively that we think for that, to get that wisdom. It just pops up, okay, from the subconscious, you could say. Now, okay, so it's saying that we have to use our wisdom to control the consciousness. We normally use our consciousness to control our sentiments and emotions, all right? Yeah, so you say the reason, the rational mind trying to control the sentimental, the emotional mind, the emotions, right? But then our emotions can easily cause us to be inverted, upside down, okay? Therefore, sensibility, which is perception and emotion, must be built on top of reason, right? The rational aspect. And reason must be built on top of self-nature, right? This our self-nature. The self-nature must be built on top of emptiness, right? Emptiness itself is has complete wisdom, and wisdom is our true self, right? So this is the, you know, the Buddhism, they use the term sunyata, this emptiness. You know, it's mentioned, well, it's basically talked about in the Heart Sutra and the Diamond Sutra, okay, among other sutras. But you know, this emptiness has this wisdom, all right? You know, so it's kind of like, yeah, even, you know, in the Bible, right? In the book of John, it says, in the beginning was the word was with God, okay? So the word, we say Tao, okay, and God, okay? So you can say that emptiness, yeah, is the word, and then God is the wisdom, okay? So similar thing. So we must see through the impermanence of everything, and then we can be still, to be constantly in a state of happiness and joy, right? We have to, it's because, again, this is another thing, another concept about the five skandhas, the five aggregates, five heaps, you know, that kind of makes up our being, our physical being, okay? So the idea that because we have these senses, the sense objects, the things that we interact with in the world, and then coming through our senses, right? So we have sensation, we have perception, then we have what we call volition, which, you know, basically, oh, then we want to act on something, and then consciousness, okay? That is what makes us who we think we are, right? And but again, this is, if we don't view the world and everything as being impermanent, then we think everything is true, everything is real, and that's how we, and that's, unfortunately, then we get caught up in this. It's a trap, okay? And so to become enlightened, we really have to see that everything is impermanent and let go and not be attached to it, all right? Okay, let's see. Yeah, so anyways, we have to, it's, you know, we have to depend on our wisdom to control things, okay? And that is how we get there, is we have to quiet our mind, okay? Quiet our heart and mind, right? If we have strong emotions, then, you know, obviously we can't keep our minds still and quiet. So, and we're constantly thinking about stuff, you know, so that's why people meditate, because they, you know, quiet that mind, try to achieve that emptiness. But, you know, we have to realize that it's not just empty, where there's nothing, there is something, you know, you can say the wisdom, that true nature, okay, is there. But anyways, okay, that's a little bit, bit more advanced, right? But, you know, try to, yeah, we can't see things if we just see, oh, I see something and it looks, you know, I see it has a shape, it has this color, then that is just looking at the surface. Okay, so we're not really seeing through seeing it for what it really is, okay, in its true, the true essence of it. All right. So that's, I guess that's what, Holy Teacher is trying to get at, is that, okay. All right. And then, so the purpose of our cultivation and practice is to correct the distorted mind. Everyone's mind is distorted, okay? It's not, yeah, it's not, you can say, yeah, it has the wrong views, things like that, okay? Our consciousness has distorted our original nature, right? Cultivation is to use the emptiness to see through the consciousness and to correct or rectify it. Therefore, we should always use the enlightened mind to deal with things and not use emotions to deal with things. Right, today, everybody wants to obtain happiness, but happiness is completely created in the heart and mind and must be discovered within. If the mind is not healthy, then there is no way to find or create happiness. So how do we build or construct this mind? Right, so it's only by being the master of and ruling over the sense faculties, so our senses. So, again, we are driven by our senses. So we see something and then you say, I like what I see. Okay, so then that starts affecting us. Okay, so it's affecting our decision about what we want to do. Okay, for example, and then also we have to manage our desires. Right? Do not let the senses run amok, right? Out of control in our consciousness. If we can maintain a quiet state of mind that is, not giving rise to thoughts driven by emotion and delusion, then happiness will always be with us. All right. So everyone can create the way of happiness. It is not given to us by the Buddha. It is not given to us by anybody else. Right? And it's not given to us by heaven. But we must put in the effort to create it by ourselves. Okay. It is not only the wealthy who have happiness, nor only those who are well educated, right? Everyone has the same opportunity to be happy. This is the same as achieving Buddhahood, right? The opportunity is the same for everyone. Therefore, Master Yenhui, he's the young disciple of Confucius, he can live happily, even in poverty, right? He was very joyful and happy to learn the Tao. Confucius also, he traveled through the neighboring countries and was oppressed and by the harsh conditions and situations, but he was always joyful. Our predecessors, they traveled across the oceans, suffered from the conditions and endured many tests, trials, and tribulations. As a result, they achieved to become bodhisattvas, right? So it is about the heart and mind to be in the joyful Tao, right? It's happy to learn the Tao, knowing and fulfilling one's destiny. That's really what it is. So it's internal, okay? So today, everyone wants to live a very happy and transcending life, right? Everyone is pursuing happiness, but the problem is, can everyone obtain this happiness? Some people can get the answer quickly, but some never find it in their lifetime, right? Even everyone wants to live a healthy life, but there are a lot of diseases in the heart and mind. If the diseases of the heart and mind are not eliminated, then there can be no happiness. Therefore, everyone must maintain a proper mindset and thoughts. If the mindset and thoughts are wrong or not proper, then they must be corrected immediately. Okay, so the problem is, if we don't correct ourselves right away, assuming that we realize that, our thinking, our mindset is going in the wrong direction. If we know, then we need to make corrections quickly. Otherwise, if we're not aware, then it becomes, over time, it's going to become a habit, and we're even if people point it out to us, it's like, yeah, it's very difficult to change. Okay, so that's why we have to be aware, and part of that helping us be aware is the learning. Okay, the learning that we do here to learn about these things, so that we can become aware of them if we didn't know about them. Forms and images must be diluted from the heart and mind. Yeah, so we have to treat these forms and images, lightly. Okay, don't take it too seriously. We become otherwise we'll become really attached to them. Okay, then that's the problem. Okay, so without cultivation, there is no way to dilute the suffering in the world. Using science to analyze all the suffering and happiness, we still cannot understand and realize it. Right, the only way is through cultivation to dilute things from the heart and mind. Right, this is the only way to transcend and to understand suffering and happiness. Right, so that's why Buddha says, in the Four Noble Truths that, hey, the suffering, everything comes from our heart and mind, from our desires. Okay, so that's getting to the root of the problem, trying to understand the root of the problem, and that's where we have to treat the illness. You can say the disease, get rid of it in the heart and mind. Right? Even if we have received Tao for a long time or cultivated Tao for a long time, as long as we do not get rid of our bad temper and habits, then we cannot achieve enlightenment or awakening. Right? If we ask Holy Teacher, when will we have a world of peace and harmony? Holy Teacher says, when every person becomes a Buddha, then we will have a world of peace and harmony. As long as we have not become Buddhas, we will have disputes and conflicts. As long as there are unenlightened people, there will be right and wrong duality, and this is what creates the world as we know it. Therefore, only if everyone purifies their heart and mind and become like Buddhas, then the world can be peaceful and harmonious. The heart and mind is a Buddha country or Buddha state. It is also a hell, right? When we are entangled or caught up in anxieties, vexations, and delusions, we cannot be happy. We cannot let go. And the heart and mind is like a hell, right? And we're not, it can't be, there's no joy or happiness there. But if we are always joyful and happy, then heaven is right in front of us. It's everywhere. I mean, we are in heaven. Okay, so it's in that heart and mind. Okay, everything is there. It's a state of mind. It's a state of mind. Oh, okay, so finally, last point, number 10, improve one's temperament. Yeah. So he's already pointing that out, that we have to get rid of our bad temper. Okay, so all disputes begin with one's temperament, right? If nobody is happy in the family, it is because bad temper and a moment of ignorance. Our Holy Teacher tells us every day we should get up, look in the mirror and say, today I want to be Holy Teacher. Today I want to be Guanyin Bodhisattva. Okay, I will not get angry. Okay. So even if a child's report card comes back, with poor grades, yeah, don't get angry, right? If we normally get angry, right, but today we're different, we don't get angry, then the child will think, why are my parents not angry today? Why are they so gentle today? Then we say, today, Dad is Holy Teacher and Mom is Guanyin Bodhisattva. So if we do not get angry, then everything passes. It's just, and the potential for conflict and strife is gone. Okay. So if we normally get angry over things, try to take a break from it. First of all, we have to be aware of our tendency to get angry and take immediate control to not get angry. Take a few deep breaths to calm down. Or use our rational mind and reasoning to control our emotions. When we see something that is not to our liking, we should not get upset and angry. Of course, it is not easy at first, right? We try to tolerate and endure it for maybe a week or, just a day or a few days. But when we cannot endure it anymore, we say, okay, Holy Teacher, I can't endure it. I have to take a leave of absence, take a break today. So I remember we said, okay, I'm going to be Holy Teacher, going to be like Holy Teacher. But, we can't hold in that anger. Then we tell a Holy Teacher, okay, I got to take a break right now. I have to let it out, right? Then let out that burst of anger. It's okay. Holy Teacher says it's okay because it's not easy to get rid of one's temper. And in fact, it can potentially take countless kalpas, eons, many, many, many lifetimes to do so. So therefore, it's okay to take a break from tolerating and enduring all the time, once in a while. Right? The point is to make gradual changes from daily outbursts of temper to weekly, then to monthly, and eventually to, well, maybe never or almost never getting angry. If we can improve like this, then we have gained a benefit, right? Cultivating Tao has given us a tangible benefit. Yeah, right? So then Tao has given us something useful because we have asked or requested or demanded of ourselves. So half of the usefulness and benefit came from our own effort, right? Therefore, Holy Teacher advises us to do our best, not to lose our temper. Like, when in a family, let's say, when adults display outbursts of anger, right? It's the children who suffer, right? Because they see this outburst, and they don't know what to do, right? Maybe they're afraid, whatever, right? In today's society, there are many problem, kids or teenagers because they come from problem families. If the family is healthy or harmonious, then the children's psychology or mindset will also be healthy. So I mean, obviously that's not the only factor. Okay, so that could be one factor. Holy Teacher urges parents not to spoil their children as well. Okay, so this is kind of, children must be taught well from an early age. Teach them the correct values because they won't learn them in school or outside, right? What they learn in school or among friends or on the internet, I can guarantee you, it's not about being a good person, about being, the morality, ethics. They usually don't learn that out there, and those things that can learn at home. And so that's what parents have to teach them that. That's why as adults we must learn the correct values from the principles of Tao. Right? Well, then we can teach the children and raise them according to these principles. Now, parents also have to teach by example. Okay, that's also important. Not just using words, right? So if a parent, they smoke and drink and they tell the children not to smoke and drink, well, of course, the children aren't going to listen. They see, basically the parent is a hypocrite. Okay. Now the children might see the parents, they're saying one thing, but they're doing another. And so they just might ignore anything that the parents tell them to do, okay, or not to do. So that's the danger. So we have to be mindful of that, be aware. Therefore, teaching by example is the most important, right? Nurturing the proper mindset and notions or ideas and listening to and learning the Tao principles from a young age will help them establish a healthy mindset and character. Do not spoil them. So yeah, Holy Teacher is encouraging, yes. So children should be learning these Tao principles, maybe not how we're explaining it at this level, but, in very simple ways, okay, very simple, that they can understand. And mostly, by example, right? Do it, show them by example, teach them by example. We also must control the external environment and influences, right? Do not let these external things destroy the family. Of course, this is not easy, but we have to do our best. Try to live a simple and contented and happy life, right? Okay, sorry, going over it a little bit. Finally, get to conclusion here. All right, so Holy Teacher has given us, good guidance on how to create and maintain happiness. Holy Teacher asks that we start to change ourselves and create happiness, right? We can also rate our own progress, right? After a month or two, if the atmosphere at home has gotten better, or how our relationships with people getting better, then we are creating the way of happiness. If things are getting better, then we must continue to improve and maintain it. Otherwise, we have more work to do, right? It's not to say that we work on creating happiness in the family and ignore everything else, right? We still must perform our duties and fulfill our responsibilities outside of the family, including our Tao duties, right? So when there is mutual support, love, and happiness at home, then it will be easier and more meaningful to carry out our Tao responsibilities. Therefore, the way of happiness guides us to improve and to overcome, right? Now, okay, so, and Holy Teacher, well, let me see here. Okay, so yeah, so, just kind of maybe summarize some of the points. We have to be accepting, we have to tolerate and be considerate in order to be happy, and we have to eliminate our bad temper and habits. Okay, now Holy Teacher Sizun said, the family is the foundation for, if the foundation cannot be maintained or fixed, then all other problems will arise, right? So problem kids come from problem families, and problem families are the result of parents not fulfilling their responsibilities, being selfish or intolerant, or indulging themselves, etc. Right? To strengthen a family, the parents must respect each other and speak from the heart in open and honest communication. Okay, so we all hope to have a happy family. We must try not to destroy other people's families and lives either, right? Because we will not be able to avoid the karmic retribution in the future, right? So yeah, if we're, we say, hey, don't destroy family and their happiness. Okay, you try to do that, there's going to be karmic retribution to pay in the future. Right. So teach the children well when they're young, when they get older, right, they can be independent and make their own good choices without meddling from the parents. Okay, so then the parents will be have their mind at ease, knowing that the children will be able to take care of themselves and do the right things. All right. That's it. Okay, so that was holy teachers talking about the way of happiness, or the Tao of happiness. Again, it's all comes from within, and we have to realize that. All right. If I said anything wrong or not satisfactory, I ask the Buddhas for forgiveness, and also ask Transmitting Masters, lectures for their corrections. Finally, I also dedicate and transfer the merits from this class to the global collective karma, and hope that the suffering that it's that karma is causing in the world will be lessened. Thank you.